dear friends, were I a more modest woman, sharing my love story would have been quite a challenge. It's a tale of love so intense that even the most adventurous Amazons would have been moved to their core. Despite this, I have managed to weather the storm of real men, the ones I have dreamt of all my life, and I can proudly say that I continue to endure, for our dates are frequent and, most importantly, consistent. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Angelina Stepanovna, a 59-year-old married woman. Despite my age, I still possess an air of elegance, undoubtedly inherited from my mother, a well-known actress in our city's theater and cinema. Though I did not follow in her footsteps, lacking her talents, I found my own path with intelligence as my guiding light. I breezed through university, occasionally donning fashionable skirts, and immediately landed a prestigious position as a teacher at a maritime school, thanks to my parental connections. It was at this school that I encountered my future husband, Vasily, nearly a dozen years later. I had no rush in those days. Even from the beginning, I believed that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So I took my time and carefully selected a life partner. Vasilok, as I affectionately called him, was once my student. While he may not have been the most academically gifted, he possessed a genuine sense of manhood and an undeniable charisma, despite his youth. I had the privilege of witnessing these qualities firsthand one evening in an empty classroom, where we gathered to address Vasily's educational gaps. And before I knew it, I found myself in his comforting embrace. From that fateful day, my enduring love story with my future husband began, spanning approximately 3 decades. We seized the opportunity to marry during his student years, knowing that the future might not afford us such chances. I had no desire to search for my beloved amidst the vastness of the world's oceans, so I bound Vasya to me with an unbreakable knot of devotion before he embarked on his journey as a third mate aboard a weathered vessel, traversing the expanse of the Barents Sea. And thus, my husband and I shared a life of contentment, living in close proximity for countless years of marital bliss. As a faithful wife, I patiently awaited my husband's return from each voyage, knowing that he would bring not only gifts for his beloved wife, but also the reassurance that he remained faithful. He was a man of great integrity and decency. In turn, I held steadfastly, using every ounce of my limited feminine strength to resist the allure of other men, though it was not without its challenges. I had always possessed a passionate nature, making it difficult to suppress my natural desires. Consequently, when my sailor crossed the threshold of our home, I would pounce upon my captain like a tigress, indulging in intimate moments in the bedroom for a full day's worth, ensuring that Vasilok would carry the warmth of my love during the ensuing months of painful separation. During one of our ardent encounters, we conceived a wonderful daughter, Karina. She has since grown into an independent, accomplished woman of 25, having married a few years ago and ventured forth from the familial nest. This transition left me alone, as I had transitioned from being a teacher to a simple homemaker, relying on a modest pension allowance from the government for personal expenses. My husband, still gallantly sailing the seas, had truly become a seasoned mariner, embodying the spirit of a true seafaring adventurer. As I approached the age of 60, something inexplicable stirred within me, as if a restless spirit had taken hold. In my younger years, I could endure a few months without the presence of a true companion, but now, not even a couple of weeks had passed since Vasya had once again demonstrated his love for me, and my insatiable nature yearned for another passionate encounter. It happened on a rainy summer evening, a moment that marked the first time in my life when thoughts of infidelity crossed my mind. Shame engulfed me instantly. Emerging from the shower, I glanced into the foggy mirror and scarcely recognized the flushed cheeks that reflected my fervor. Gazing upon my still alluring and well-toned body, I realized that I deserved more frequent pleasures, and there was no shame in a faithful wife seeking the company of another purely for physical fulfillment. I loved my husband with unwavering devotion and had no intention of leaving him. Furthermore, I had read in a fashion magazine the day before that extramarital affairs, devoid of the intention to find a new life partner, were not considered as such. According to the article, they were simply manifestations of human physiology. Considering the pros and cons carefully, I made the decision to find a lover, a decent and intelligent young man who could match my fiery spirit at least a few times a week. As a woman dedicated to her home, I couldn't think of a more practical way to meet someone than through the vast realm of the internet, a domain that I had become familiar with during my university days when computer studies were in their infancy. Aware of the existence of numerous dating sites through conversations with my friends, I acknowledged that it was a game of chance, as one could encounter anyone, even a potential danger disguised as an exemplary family man. Nonetheless, I resolved to test my luck, with the caveat that I sought Vej's forgiveness in advance for my future transgressions. In the questionnaire, I refrained from providing extensive personal information, only mentioning my age and adding a warm message. Taking inspiration from the tale of a married yet profoundly lonely woman seeking a committed relationship, I expressed my desire for an eloquent, driven partner. I chose not to display my photograph, concerned about potential complications with acquaintances who might recognize me. Shortly after completing my registration on the website, a 50-year-old man responded to my appeal, also without sharing his picture. It was unsurprising, as Igor openly confessed to being married to a much younger wife. According to him, he loved his wife deeply but sought excitement and adventure elsewhere. While his marriage seemed intact, he longed for the company of a mature, passionate woman who possessed extensive experience in the realm of love. Naturally, I promptly replied to such a tender message and decided to halt communication with other suitors. It seemed unfair to engage in romantic endeavors or give false hope to other men when I already had a potential candidate. Yegorishko and I embarked on a genuine virtual romance. However, our connection lasted only a couple of days, as my impatience got the better of me. Based solely on our passionate correspondence, filled with lines of love poetry, I hastily concluded that he was the ideal man for me. Without hesitation, I eagerly arranged a date with my future lover. We mutually agreed not to exchange photographs, as it would intensify the intrigue and adrenaline leading up to our meeting, ensuring an extraordinary experience. Igor assured me that he was not a Quasimodo, and I playfully responded, likening myself to Snow White, searching for only one charming gnome. My reply echoed the excitement of a schoolgirl. I borrowed the keys to my friend's vacant apartment while they were off enjoying a sunny vacation in the Egyptian desert. Wanting to create a romantic atmosphere, I set up a candlelit dinner and eagerly waited for my mysterious guest. As the appointed hour arrived, the doorbell rang. Filled with impatience, I hurriedly opened the door, initially only seeing a beautiful bouquet of roses. However, as our eyes met, both mine and the man's, our jaws dropped in disbelief, nearly touching the floor. To my astonishment, the man standing before me was none other than my son-in-law, Yegor. He entered the hallway silently, his usual shy smile adorning his face. Overwhelmed with embarrassment, he finally managed to utter a few words. "Hello, Angelina Stepanovna." "Well, hello, son-in-law," was all I could respond with at that moment. Thoughts raced through my mind at lightning speed as I rushed to make the most important decision of my life. For a minute, Yegor and I locked eyes, and then we embraced each other passionately. In a dance of love, we found ourselves in the bedroom, where we remained until morning. I had warned Karina that she had chosen a partner much older than herself. Despite his status as a renowned professor, a medical luminary, and a skilled surgeon, she was just a young nurse. Mature men are often drawn to a serene refuge where they can drop anchor next to a wise and, most importantly, passionate woman. That day, my son and I made the only right decision because why risk pursuing other adventures when our desires aligned perfectly? Since then, Jaeger has become a frequent visitor in his mother-in-law's life. A woman who is somewhat lonely always appreciates a little help around the house and more. And I can always show my gratitude to him appropriately. It was a successful affair, but with a son-in-law, it doesn't count. Moreover, I saved my daughter from imminent trouble. Men like him are pursued by cunning ladies, and I won't allow a divorce to disrupt my daughter's family. Some may judge this tale of love between a mother-in-law and a son-in-law, while others may understand. However, the most important thing is the happiness within our household, and in our family, it has only grown. The internet is an unpredictable place. You never know who you'll encounter in the vast expanse of the World Wide Web. But this time, the surprise turned out to be a success, and it will remain our secret.